Welcome to another episode of the Afterlife Podcast. My guest today is Gary Wimmer. Gary, I'm so glad to have you on this show, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. You've had a near-death experience and you've written a couple of books, and I would just love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your story.
Well, it's an honor to be with you, my dear, and I certainly appreciate it. Yeah, I often consider myself one of the luckiest people on the planet, primarily for just what I experienced in a near-death experience I had in 1977. Um, I was the third of seven brothers, got two older, four younger. Uh, we were raised Catholic. I was an altar boy. Was always curious about God and Jesus and the truth and whatever it is, because I assumed if we're going to be judged by the rules, we should know the rules, right?
Yes.
So I kept asking. And after I went through puberty, I left the Catholic Church. I mean, they couldn't even deal with human sexuality. So, I never left God. I never left my curiosity about the truth. I never left my search. And out of seven sons, I was the only one who really was interested in that. I wanted to know why things are the way they are. The rest of my brothers are businessmen and sportsmen, and I was the scientist, the engineer, the entertainer, the chemistry set, the puppet show, uh, curious about religion, spirituality. Um, Went to college, Texas Tech, 1965 to 70, studying electrical engineering. In the late 60s, I started reading a lot of Edgar Casey, Madame Blavatsky. Got me very interested in spirituality, truth, psychic ability. And Edgar Casey was the first explanation that made sense to me
Mm.
about who God might be and Jesus and why, and incredible insight through his readings. I moved to Austin in 1970, and a couple of different psychics said, "You have a lot of natural intuition, astrologers. You ought to start giving readings." So I got a regular deck of playing cards and a simple book. I've got it up here somewhere about how to read playing cards. And I started doing readings. At the same time, I was a musician. I started playing guitar back in the 60s, early 60s, mid 60s, and didn't think I'd do it for a lifetime. But after college, I got drafted, electrical engineer. I served as a conscientious objector here
Mm.
in Austin, Texas, at a state school for mentally challenged kids. Um, After 2 years, it was still defense work, and oh, screw that, I'll just play music. So I started just playing music and traveling and doing readings with a regular deck of playing cards, and always interested in psychic ability. I started getting all these intuitive feelings about things. Kind of always did my whole life, and everybody does. I just
Mhm.
paid attention to them. A
Mhm.
lot of people blow them off. So 1977, I quit the band, quit traveling on the road, needed some time off, and I moved back into this little duplex with my two roommates, a little bitty place. Uh, and I didn't know either of them very well. Brendan, I knew a little bit better than I did Mark. I'd known Mark longer. They were both Aquarians. I was a Scorpio. I moved in, and within 24 hours after I moved in on this is January 1977, um, the world started changing. I started picking up what people are going to say. My roommates, the phone was going to ring. I could tell who it was going to be. The next day, I walked down to the store at the corner. Everybody I'd pass, I could feel what they're thinking. Uh, Within 24 hours, the world had turned into this realistic, sort of interesting, fascinating, but kind of scary world because I didn't know what I would be normally doing if I hadn't becoming overwhelmed by psychic ability. I could feel things, I could see things. My roommate and I went out to a club that night, and as we walked in, I felt this premonition at a certain spot right outside the door. Later, we went in, listened to some music. Too loud for me. I went out to the front room, sat at a bar stool, thought about going outside to get some air. And all of a sudden, I'm outside in that little spot that I'd had that premonition. And people walk right through me, going in the door. I open my eyes. I'm still in the bar stool. The door swung open. the people walked through dressed exactly as I'd seen them a moment ago. And this kept happening. My roommate came in. I bet him $10 I could describe the next people. I did. He thought I was cheating. I just been outside. I said, no, go ask him. This went on and on. And by the second and third day, life had turned into this realistic world. It was pretty scary, but pretty interesting, but it wasn't normal. And I didn't know what I'd do if this, what is going on. Uh, my roommate and I, for example, I wrote a book about this called A Second in Eternity. It's the true
Mhm.
story of this. It's even got the police records in there because there's more to come. So after about a week of this, well, for example, my roommate and I went to a restaurant, and he's very concerned about me. He sees I'm preoccupied with everything except mundane things, you know. What's going on? He asked me. I said, I'll just explain. It's easier. I'll just show you. And I saw two ladies in the corner of the bar and said, do you know either of them? He looked around. I said, nope. I said, okay, I'm going to have the brunette write me a letter. What? I said, yeah, the brunette write me a letter. Completely harmless. He's eating, I'm eating, and meanwhile, I'm thinking to that brunette, I'm the guy over here in the red shirt or whatever I had, blue shirt. Come over and write me a letter. Harmless. Like imagine like a laser light or like a light down a theater or an airplane where you have a little foot. Imagine it directing her right over to me. Didn't look at her, didn't walk by. She was facing the other direction. 10 minutes later, when they left, redhead walked by and then the brunette, and she threw a napkin down on our table. She'd written in big bold letters, why are you doing this to me? That freaked me out, freaked my roommate out. And I wanted to go ask the girl, what did you, why'd you write this? What did you feel? But I was terrified. I was petrified. I shocked other people. I was basically affecting people in a very bizarre way because they didn't know what to do with me and I didn't know what to do with me. And this kept building up and building up. And I kept feeling this sense of like guardian angels watching over me, some sort of higher force, some sort of God or angels or something, which was about the only feeling of comfort I had because everything else was rather terrifying and confusing, to say the least. So these feelings of these monitors, they seem to call themselves that, or I called them that, and they said, "Yeah, it'll work." you know, I didn't see them, but I kept feeling them. And so after 7 days, this built up after 7 days, and it was so intense. I was freaking my roommates out. I was freaking people out. Uh, and I didn't know what to do, and they didn't know what to do. Uh, so at the end of the seventh day, I bolted out of a duplex, and I was just going to go somewhere. I had to. Cold as winter night, February 7th, 1977. And as I left the house, I started hearing these voices again, and they kept saying, "Keep your eye on the light. Uh, watch for the signs." And for several days, I'd felt this feeling of verification. I always had to kind of verify to the external world that I'm still here. I hadn't floated off yet because I felt like I was going to. And sure enough, at the end of 7 days, I was terrified. I was racing down Guadalupe Street here in Austin, Texas. I was crying. I was praying. I was scared. Uh, People were freaked out. They didn't know what to do with me, and I kind of wanted to say, hey, stay away. I might just blow up. I didn't know what was going on. I had never felt such fear, never. And all of a sudden, it just stopped instantly. And wow, I felt warm. It's February. I look up and there's this huge light above my head, 6 feet above my head. And I looked around and all these people who were watching frantic me race down the street, terrified, crying and screaming. They're still looking at me, and all of a sudden, I'm just amazed. I'm not scared. I'm not, and they didn't see this light. They didn't react to it at all. It's so bright, it's like a big spotlight. I didn't care. I looked back up at the light and I felt fearless. And they said the monitors, I saw these monitors, the guardian angels, they were sitting around this kind of crystal table about that thick, and the light was coming through their hands like a big column surrounding me. I felt completely protected, warm, fearless. And they said, do you trust us? I said, well, I don't understand what's been going on. Shh, do you trust us? That's all I wanted to know. And I said, yeah, it's going crazy. I'd had enough of that. I could, yeah. Long story short, within a second or two, I was hit head on by a speeding car. I was outside my body instantly. I was watching my body get tumbled over in the car. And then I started expanding outward in all directions like a balloon, not an arrow, a balloon. And I realized instantaneously that's how souls leave the body. They go out all directions simultaneously. When they come into the mother at birth, they collapse in from all directions and take impressions both ways of the entire universe, uh, faster than the speeding sound and bullets and all that. Light, it's instantaneous. But that's how the soul comes and leaves. And so instantly, I'm expanding. I saw my body tumble over. I forgot about it. It was irrelevant. I was in pure ecstasy, fantastic feelings. And as I expanded, I felt galaxies and planets going inside of me. Never felt so beautiful. I didn't know what was next, but it was a joyful ride. And I really didn't know it was me. I lost awareness of me. It was just sensation, you know. I'm going to cough for just a second, clear my throat. Excuse me. So, in the middle of this intense, beautiful sensation, uh, seeing my body getting tumbled over, expanding, forgetting about myself, I went through this tunnel of light. Best, it's best description that very fitting. It felt like a tunnel of light, circle, a circular silver white clouds, and me going through there like a sort of like a clown at a circus being shot out of a cannon. Yes. Zoom! Here I am going through this tunnel of light, unaware that it's me. Really, just sensation. Beautiful, beautiful, most incredible, beautiful sensation. Fearless. And then I came out the other side of this tunnel of light into this infinite blue void. Looked like the sky. And it was the mind of God. And it was infinite. And it was unbiased. And I was not observing it. I was part of it. I was home.
Mm-hmm.
And all around, I could see this whole process of creation. I could see all the answers, why we're here, how we got here. Everything was so clearly visible. And this seemed to go on and on and on and on, timeless, you know. And somewhere in the middle of this timeless awareness of infinite mind, I felt like I was witnessing it rather than being part of it. And I was pulled back and I was withdrawn and I was pulled back through this tunnel of light. And I kept feeling like, wow, I liked where I was. Where am I going? Because I had no awareness of me. And I was pulled back into this universe, pulled back toward this galaxy, pulled back toward this solar system. And every time I was getting closer to Earth, I felt more and more of a connection with it. But what I didn't know. And then right before I got into my body, I saw Earth. I got closer and closer and closer. I saw three series of pictures, basically. The first is what we're going through now and have since 1977. I saw COVID-19. I saw these wars. I saw global change, all this chaos we're going through for the next 100 years, like a series of pictures. 9/11, COVID, wars, you know, the good, bad, and the ugly. And there's plenty of good too. Then I saw the next side of this, the age of Aquarius, the good side, where we're headed in the next 150 years plus. And it's a beautiful world, and we're going through a lot of mess right now. So it's a messy transition, but it's necessary. We're
Um,
moving to a higher level of consciousness.
mhm,
Our old systems are being tested and broken down, not because we're bad people, but because we have to update our systems, you know, whether it's, you know, our telescopes or our communications or the way we think.
mhm,
So the other side of this age of Aquarius was beautiful. I saw the chaos we're going through now. I saw the other side of it. And then I saw these pictures of me. I didn't know who it was. Playing piano. I didn't play piano then hardly. Traveling all over, playing music as a soloist. I didn't even play solo. I was struggling to find bands to play with because I was a mediocre singer at best and a rather expendable sideman. That's the way I felt. So then I saw all these beautiful pictures of, I guess it was me, and then I saw my body.
Mm.
And I recognized it. I jumped in, and all this red hair's hanging over my head. It's the driver. He was terrified. He was screaming. He just ran into me. Man, I tried to stop. I could. I just been to heaven, man. Get away. I don't need your confusion. I got up. He's trying to hold me down, saying I'm in shock. I'm saying I'm not hurt at all. The whole car's totaled, the whole front of it. People are screaming and hollering. And all I felt was very eerie, very strange. I didn't know what to do, but I just been to heaven, man. And this little accident, these people screaming, all irrelevant. I'm going home. I start walking up. People are screaming, no, stay here till the cops come. I heard ambulances and police. Okay.
Mm.
So I waited around for a minute or so, or actually pretty quick. Cops, ambulance, police, all there. And they came to the scene. They're all looking around for a blood spattered body, and there wasn't one. I'm up there talking to all these people. And the more I talked to them, I said, did y'all see these monitors? These live? They just back away. They didn't know what to do with me. And I wouldn't have either. You know, cops, ambulance, police came up, and I'm raising my hands and I'm the guy you're looking for. It's just right. How you even standing? Just like you on my feet. I didn't even feel it. I did not feel any pain. I felt such ecstasy, such empowerment, such beautiful, but very confused about how I'm going to deal with this situation. What am I going to say? You know?
Yeah.
And they asked me what happened, and I told them about I tried to, about the week of premonitions and about, it didn't make any sense. And I wouldn't have, they
It-
thought I was crazy, and I would have agreed. They
Gary,
sent a,
I have to tell you, this is incredible. Incredible. And I have so many questions, but I'll let you finish. So, you did try to tell
go
them.
ahead, ask a couple questions.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to start at the beginning because there are so many parts to your story that I don't want to miss something. So I'm going to start with when you first started experiencing these intuitions. And I know you said you were terrified. Um, do you think it's like you said that a lot of us, we have intuition, right? But you were paying attention. Do you think it's because you were looking for these answers? Like,
Oh, I was definitely looking. From the
yeah,
time I was a Catholic kid, I was always looking for the answers.
yeah, yeah.
Six brothers, they could give a damn. They didn't. Me, I had to. I was always curious. So,
Uh,
yeah, ask and you shall receive. Not
yes.
everything, but if you don't ask, you get whatever crumbs happen to blow your way.
Yeah. And
Ask.
you said these mentors, did I hear you right? Did you see them before the near-death experience as well, right? You
No, I
s-
never saw them except one time. I felt them before that,
you felt
and I
them.
felt them after that, but I
Yeah.
only visually saw them one time, and they were as real as you and me. I mean, they were physically manifest before my eyes, even though nobody else on the street recognized them. Uh,
I think you're a really brave soul because seeking, you never know what you'll find, right? And I'm sure you did not expect to be hit by a car and leave your body. Like, I don't
not
think.
at all.
Yeah.
Although I'd had premonitions during this whole week, I was going through this escalating
Mm.
psychic. I saw these flashing lights. I saw cops. I saw an ambulance. I saw a wreck. I had no idea it was me,
Uh-huh.
but I saw these signs. So on February 7th, when I'm sitting there trying to explain to the cops, and they're trying to they're trying to figure out something they can arrest me on, or some crime I broke, or something,
Yeah.
Uh, and they couldn't. And I said, "Can I just go home?" No, we got to take you to the hospital, examine you,
Yeah.
put me in an ambulance, took you to the
Yeah.
emergency room.
It's
Uh,
really hard. I think in the 1970s, the term near-death experience was probably just beginning to take
it
on,
was,
right?
it was. I
Yeah.
had no reference point uh, whatsoever. I'd never heard about, thought about, talked about it.
And
No
it's
premonitions, or well, no idea of it. But this for that week from January 31st to February 7th, 1977. Day by day, I kept escalating more and more to the point of absolute absurdity. I could look at a complete stranger 6 blocks away, and I would think, because there was no neutral, I was either picking stuff up or in my mind projecting stuff because there was no neutral. I'd look at a stranger 6 blocks away, and I'd think, tap your buddy on the shoulder, and he would do it. And I would think, did I make that happen? Or did I know that was about to happen? And I could not tell the difference.
Yeah.
That's how intense it got. And so I was having to watch every thought, every feeling, afraid, man, I might break something. That's why in Guadalupe Street, when the people were all concerned about me, I said, I want them to stay back. I didn't know if I'd blow up. I didn't know what was happening.
Happening. Wow. I mean, to me, that sounds like a gift, but I don't know if that was me, I would feel a burden. Like that's a lot to go through.
Oh, it
Like,
was terrifying. It was
yeah.
terrifying. But at the same time, even though that week was terrifying and confusing, it was ecstasy. It was extremes. It was like the thinnest tightrope. It was like no neutral. It was just a magnificent seeing symbolism because everything I was seeing is symbolism. I'd
Mm-hmm.
think about what am I going to do about this? How did I do that? And I'd look at a guy down the street in a red shirt and I'd pick up some sign about, oh, red fire. My
Mm-hmm.
mind would go on and on and on interpreting symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
My roommate and I could sit on our porch and I could hear a car coming up because we lived on a hill, the top of the hill. You could hear
Yeah.
a car come up before you could see it. I could imagine being out in the curb, looking at the car, reading the license plate number, and seeing the driver and describing it in perfect detail before it came into view. And I could do it over and over and over and over.
Wow.
And this got real haunting. My roommate's freaking out, and I'm kind of going, hey, this ain't normal. That's all before I
Mm-hmm.
had the experience.
Yeah. And
But when I was in an infinite mind, it was so beautiful. And I came back and, like I said, went through this tunnel light, saw these 3 series of pictures,
Mhm.
jumped into my body, wanted to go home. People were screaming and hollering. Cops, ambulance came, tried to explain the story. Next thing I knew, they took me to the emergency room
Yeah.
and they're x-raying me and checked me. I'm not hurt, not scratched, nothing. The car's all banged up because of my body. I still in, I'm
But
still in ecstasy.
I guess those
But then
mentors asked you, yeah, to
they didn't know
trust
what
them.
to, pardon
Yeah.
me?
I guess those mentors asked you to trust them and they took care of you.
Oh, they absolutely did.
Yeah.
But the hospital couldn't keep me. They rolled me over to a corner of the emergency room, and about 15 minutes later, a guy came walking in. I knew his name. He was a psychiatrist. I knew his wife, his kids, where he going to instantly. And I told him that. He blew him away. Have you been a patient of mine? How do you know this? I said, right now, doc, I can pick up anything. And I could.
Yeah.
Uh, what I couldn't do is turn it off.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to have to commit you to a psychiatric hospital. I could care less. Do whatever you want, man. I've been to heaven and back. Nothing can
Yes.
take that.
And actually, that does bring me to a question, is it hard to live in two different realities? Because this place is not like that, right? Where you went and then you come back to this life, right? And there's a big
Oh, it's
contrast.
kind of muddy. It's kind of muddy, but I've got better vision. I've got bigger paddles. I've got a bigger boat. Knowledge is
Love
power.
that.
No matter what you're talking about, if you have more knowledge about it than less, you're going to make a better decision.
Yeah.
And knowledge is power. And so, yeah, I asked my whole life since I was a young kid, hey, God, how come the rules are this way? Uh, and I got my answer.
Yeah.
What really blew my mind about infinite mind when I went there, it's truly infinite, number one.
Mm.
Number two, at its core is infinite love. Like most people who've had near death experiences, they say, wow, this incredible feeling of love. Most NDEs vary quite a lot. They're very different experiences, but the one commonality is that
Mm-hmm.
everybody talks about this infinite love. And what blew my mind is at the center of infinite mind, infinite creativity, infinite power was or is infinite love.
Yeah.
Now, how infinite love transformed into infinite power and infinite creation and physics and molecules and atoms and totally beyond the realms of science, but that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite mind gave us all a possibility, a chance to exist as individual souls or crickets or whatever you want to be.
Yeah. So do you think that then God is like infinite mind and infinite love? Would that,
Absolutely.
okay,
With
yeah.
no limit. And there were two choices, only two. Either infinite mind exists, which is infinite, unlimited, unbiased, all possibilities can manifest, or it wouldn't exist and nothing would exist.
Mm,
Because there's no in
mm,
between. There's no 50%, 78%.
mhm.
It's all or nothing.
Well, you said something important, possibilities, and that actually brings me to a question. You mentioned Edgar Casey earlier, and I'm also a big fan of Edgar Casey. So one of my wish lists is to visit Virginia Beach and visit his home. So the question I have, he would sometimes say that the things he could see and sort of quote unquote predict, he would say that sometimes there's free will and things could shift. Do you think that whatever you saw going on with Earth, do you think it's all set in stone, the future, or that is it shift can be shifted based on
No,
free
it's
will?
like this. Say you got a table and you got a pool ball and you push it. Now it's going to go off the end of the table if you push it hard enough. But will it automatically? Well, it depends. Maybe you move the table. Maybe you maybe put your hand into it. There's all kinds of things that can affect it. The fact is, at that moment in time, that ball is going to go over the table unless it's stopped, and that's free will. Do
Mm,
we stop it? Do we move it? Uh, and maybe your hand, maybe the ball's too big for your hand to stop.
mm,
There's all sorts of contingencies. Where we have power and where we don't, it's an ongoing learning, discovering process.
mm,
But the only place, the only time, the only where we have infinite power is within.
mm,
There's no limit to how much you can grow spiritually and psychically and mentally and with love and
mm,
compassion, morals and values and
mhm.
good creativity and talking to your guides and doing good things. Uh, there's a limit to how many years we'll live, or how many tuna sandwiches you can eat or whatever, right?
Yes, that's correct. I probably can't even eat one, but that is
I don't
so.
know why I thought of tuna sandwiches, but
I'm just joking. But Gary, when you said you were on the other side, you felt like your questions were answered. And a lot of people that I've interviewed and have had near-death experiences, they say that it feels like they were hooked up to this giant bottle of IV that's full of knowledge. But when they return, they're not able to remember. Sometimes they can't remember, or sometimes they can't put it into words. Do you feel like you remember some of the things that maybe were downloaded into your soul?
I feel like I pretty clearly remember most of what I went through.
Yeah.
And I say most because none of us can remember everything all the time, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, but I certainly remembered enough. It made enough of an impression on me. And not only do I remember enough, it's proven itself over time, over the last 45 years, 50 years, my psychic ability. I mean, I do readings professionally, uh, which I learned in 1980, this system of lithomancy.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, life is a constant learning experience. We go through things, we look back, we reflect, and oftentimes we go through things in life we may not understand at the time. And it
Mhm.
may be a day or a month or a decade later, we go, oh, okay. I would have not gone there had that not I'd been put in that situation, but uh, good because I learned something. You know, if
So
we
if
never went through challenges or changes or surprises or curveballs or fear or doubt, we'd never learn how to deal with any of those. Period.
so I guess that brings me to my next point, that some amount of suffering is probably important for our growth, maybe.
I wish it weren't, but it seems to be the case. I can't change the way the system works. I can only change myself.
Yes.
In fact, that's all we can ever change. We can't change the past. We can't change other people or quantum physics or history or DNA. The one thing we can always change is
Mhm.
internal, our
Yeah.
attitudes, our perspective, our intentions, our motivation, our
Yeah.
thought process. We can always change those. And so it's never our situation in life, it's always how we look at it,
You look
how
at.
we upgrade.
And then what about like meaning, right? I know a lot of us talk about finding a purpose or what's the meaning of life. These questions keep coming up. How do you understand that, Gary? How does life, like, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think everybody has a different meaning, a different purpose, a different soul, different genes, uh, different opportunities. Now, whether they discover it and tap into it and try to manifest the best of themselves, that's a choice.
Mhm.
You know, life taps you and me and everybody on the planet on the shoulders constantly, especially now when we're going through this huge world transformation
Mhm.
from Pisces to Aquarius and ages and all the chaos, change, transformation, ironing out that's necessary. It's quite a different world. So we're going through this big universal change. We're not going to change that.
Mhm.
We're not going to change history or genes, but we can always change the way we look at it. And that's the real power in life, the way we look at things.
Yeah.
Free will,
Yeah.
perception, attitudes, intentions.
Mhm.
In my experience in 1977, I have never been so terrified in my life. And once I came back from it and survived, I have to admit I'm pretty fearless now.
Yes.
Nothing scares me anymore. Bring it on.
Yeah.
If it kills me, I'm in heaven. If not, I can learn something new.
Yeah. And I'm not surprised because there is a verse in the Bible that I actually love, and it says, perfect love casts out fear. You
Hmm.
already encountered that perfect love, right? So
Hmm.
there's nothing to fear. That's a
No, there's nothing to fear. I feel very lucky. I don't live in Ukraine. I go through some, medical, physical issues now at 78, but, there's people who go through really
yeah,
challenging, heavy deal. I'm so grateful.
yeah,
Uh, and I wish I could push a button and alleviate all the pain and struggling on the planet. But
yeah.
oftentimes we go through pain and struggling to learn how to not go through pain and struggling.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so sad that my time is coming to a close, Gary. But before I go, I want to just quickly ask you, you wrote a book about lithomancy. Can you just quickly tell us what that is?
Yeah, 1980, I met a lady who gave me a reading this way. Her name's Alice Worrell. The book's dedicated to her. I'd never seen this. She gave me a reading. I was real curious about how to do this. She had a class 2 weeks down the road. I attended, just her and I. It was pouring rain. We both wanted to get home. It was, I mean, really heavy rain. She did a reading for herself and one for me. And you use 16 stones. 10 of them are planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Six of them are personal: love, life, luck, commitment, timing, and place. Charge them up, drop them into a circle that represents the environment and a clock. Read from the center up to 12 o'clock, around for 12 weeks. How they point, how they touch, what the stones mean. It's very intuitive. When she did this reading for me, I loved the system because it seemed so just intuitive. Didn't have to remember a bunch of stuff.
Mm,
Excuse me. Next day, I got 16 stones and put little pieces of tape on them: Sun, Moon, Mercury, so I could see which was which till I got used to them and started practicing. Uh,
mm,
Next people that came over my house for the next, well, from then on, started getting free readings unsolicited because I wanted to practice.
yeah.
So you have to, no matter what you want, whether it's piano or raising your consciousness or learning to play golf, you have to decide, you have to practice. That's how you
Mm,
gain anything.
mhm.
But people can be pleasantly surprised. And I'm going to be giving classes in lithomancy too. People can email me, GW at GARYWIMMER.com, and say, just put classes in there. In fact, they can go to my website, GARYWIMMER.com. I've also been a writer and actor and a musician. I'm pretty much just writing and doing psychic work now. I'm not doing much acting, and uh, Tom Cruise is safe.
Well, if you were acting, I would be your fan. So, so I'm not sure if he's safe. But thank you for actually mentioning your website because I will make sure to put that in the description for the YouTube, those who are watching on YouTube. And if you would say your website one more time for those who are listening on Apple and Spotify, can you just
If I would, pardon me?
your website, can you just mention that one more time for those who are
Sure.
listening by audio?
It's my name, Gary Wimmer, GaryWimmer.com. That's my outdated homepage. I need to update my website, but it works for me. Uh, so yeah, GW@GaryWimmer.com. Just go to GaryWimmer.com. You can find all about me, my books, uh, and contact me if you're interested. GW@GaryWimmer.com for a reading or for my lithomancy classes. And thank you for your time, my
No,
dear.
thank you, Gary. This has been such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. I'm so glad you came on today.